So we're going to talk about how we present ourselves into the room with your pistol. In this case, we're not working with rifles just yet. We will. But as of right now, we're going to work with pistols. So we're going to talk about how you present yourself and your weapon as you go into a room. This is a typical center-fed room right here, and you'll see this as we continue, but there are some instructors out there that will tell you that they want to be in some sort of lazy, to some law enforcement agencies, you may recognize the term the Sewell. So you may be in some lazy Sewell technique because, if I may ask Dorr to turn to the left, people do this so they don't flag anyone. That's why this predominantly was made. Okay, I'm gonna go one better and come to the compressed ready. Even though if I'm behind my guy in the stack, I can still be at a compressed ready to go at any moment without being in a lazy Sewell, right? And I want both of my hands on the weapon, getting ready to push out into presentation and go to work, all right? I don't want to be in a lazy situation where I'm gonna lead with any parts of my body. I want to lead with my gun. Because why? Because the gun is really important if you want to eliminate a threat or protect your mates. Because remember, my sword is your shield. All right, so as we stack up, I'm going to be in that compressed ready state. And if I enter when my second man tells me to, which he just did, by the means of a very nice squeeze, it means he's ready. I will take that pregnant pause, and then I will burst through the door using speed, surprise, and violence of action. Once he gives me that squeeze, I make the determination which way I'm going to go. In this case, I'm going to go to the least resistant path, or the path of least resistance, however you want to call it, and I'm going to go to my direct front, right? Knowing that my number two guy is going to have coverage over my back. We're going to go nice and slow right now. As I push through the door, my pistol is coming up into presentation immediately. Go to my corner, sweep to my point of domination, collapse my primary sector 1 meter away from my number two shooter, and come back to any unknowns. Once it's all finished, I get back to gun retraction and start finding work. In this case, what we have is a clean, empty room. So there is no work here to be done. So what's the next piece of work? It's to continue to clear the structure. Until the structure is clear, the hostage is rescued, the enemy is eliminated, or the widget that we need so badly is in our possession. Does that make sense? Of course it does.
All right, guys, on this next run, we'll go ahead and switch things up. And Dutch, being the one man, will go ahead and do the initial button hook to get into the room a little bit faster and clear out that, so we can get to both corners faster, basically.
And I want to talk about that for a second, too. So there's two schools of thought. You can certainly go the path of least resistance, and you can certainly go to the unknown. I personally like to go to the unknown. You know, like a football player who wants the ball, I also want that position. So I know this angle gives me all the information I need, almost all the information I need for that corner. It's zero. There's nothing there. So instead of going to a place where there's nothing, I want to clear to the unknown. So that's what I'll do next time. So once we stack up here, he'll give me a squeeze, pregnant pause, and I will button hook to the unknown first. Stand by. And so the same thing took place, except the number one man button hooked into the unknown, clears his corner, sweeps his primary, finishes his clearing at the point of domination, which we want to take two corners as a number one man, so we can form an L shape to make the enemy fight in two different directions. He can't do that. So we will overwhelm him with speed, surprise, violence of action. Once I get to my point of domination, I sweep my secondary sector, come back to any unknowns, and then what? Look for work.
All right, guys, on this next one, we're going to go ahead and start from, we're going to split the door, so we'll be on either side, so there won't be any button hooking necessary. We will just take it from there. Another method to the madness.
So to me, though, right, there's pros and cons. I want to talk about it for a minute, right?
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons to this. As a two-man team, you may find yourself doing this, because when Dorr's in a cross-cover position back there, go ahead and do that. When Dorr's in a cross-cover position right there, he can obviously see more on the inside of this wall than I can. And from this cross-coverage position, I can see much more of the inside of that wall than he can. Now, to me, again, Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, this is a tool in your toolbox. So all these techniques we give you is tools in the toolbox, right? You can be offended if you like. You can have your own way to do it. If you want to tiptoe through the door, if you want to somersault through the door, you can do those things too. But these are tools in the toolbox that we have both seen work numerous times in training and in combat. So if I had a stack of men, 1, 2, 3, if my team consisted of 4, which is a great thing to have, and he's covering this, quite often he would be the last man. He would cover this, we would talk to each other, whether it's a muzzle dip, whether it's an ass shake, or whether it's a head nod. Either way, head nod is fine with me. He's got his rifle up and covering full coverage here, right? Once he drops his rifle, once I start to move, he drops his rifle. Whether he goes to a high port or a low port, doesn't matter. He drops his rifle, our men continue in, and he becomes the last guy in the room, okay? Or, again, with 2 men in this position, I have cross coverage on his position, he's got cross coverage on my position. We're gonna have to decide on who goes first. Because what we don't wanna do is run into each other right here at the portal. Getting through the portal as fast as possible is tantamount to success. So that's what we want. So as I stand here, getting ready to go, I'm gonna go first. I push through as quickly as possible. I take, again, 2 corners because I'm the number 1 man. I sweep down on his position. I come back over into the secondary to find work. There's nothing here. It's time to go. Make sense? Roger that.
Finger out.